Good day and welcome to our program Inside Out. Today on our program we'll be discussing the Senate's amendments of rules to elect principal officers in the Senate for the next the Senate, the 11th Senate. And today I'll be speaking with two notable individuals well known across the country. By my left is Mr. Imaagu, a veteran journalist, and at my right is Mr. Anyamkpa, who's also a veteran broadcaster, and at one time was a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, the only Igbo member ever of the Lagos State House of Assembly. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Today we'll be discussing the amendment of the Senate Order Rule, which are geared towards electing principal officers in the next National Assembly, the National Assembly of 2027. I know it has caused so much controversies in the polity. So I want to get your opinion, I want to know what you feel. What is your perception? Sir, can you tell us what you see about this development in the polity?
Well, thank you, Gabriel. Presently, the Nigerian political environment has been throwing up all manner of absurdities. And I think that the recent decision by the Senate amending the rules for electing principal officers is probably one of those absurdities. But before I go to that, the first question is, what is the function of the Senate? The Senate makes laws for the good governance of the country. That is its primary function, to make laws that will determine the way the country is governed. The Senate has oversight responsibilities over other arms of government. Of course, there are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So, to that extent, the Senate has the liberty to make laws. Apart from lawmaking and oversight, the Senate approves certain appointments. The Senate ratifies treaties, and the Senate also has responsibility, members, towards their constituents, where they are supposed to have offices and relate with their constituents. In as much as the Senate has the power to make laws, including how
it governs itself,
those laws are supposed to be in tandem with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am not aware that the Senate has the right to abridge the fundamental rights of people, the right of exclusion. I know that there are certain factors or grounds on which somebody can be excluded.
Yeah.
Two of them come to mind. One is if you are a convict. If you are a convict, unless the president has pardoned you, you will not be able to hold certain offices. Number two is on health grounds. And principally it has to do with mental health. But it has to be certified by a qualified medical person before you can be excluded. So I wouldn't know what is the basis, what is the justification for the Senate making rules of exclusion when the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has not abridged your right to participate. I know probably before, now, I don't know if it's still there, age limitation for certain positions. Outside this, it is a free thing. You can go in, you can go out. And the decision that I've taken presupposes that those who are already in the Senate possess certain qualities which other people do not possess, I do not think that they have the powers to so adjudicate or to make those things. But maybe we will continue, we'll get to other aspects of it.
But what about, let me ask you that one a little. What about experience, political experience? We know that the Nigerian National Assembly in particular, the Senate has been a place of so much dissonance. If you look at the elections of principal officers, the issues surrounding the election of Saraki, and other subsequent elections also. I think we know Akpabio himself has been a minority leader of the 8th Assembly, and right now is currently the Senate President. Don't you think there are lessons he has learned along the way, and why he's making the recommendation that is embedded in the current amendment?
Well, I don't know if I should anticipate the rationale or their motives. But there's something about the rule that is suspect. First is that for you to qualify to run, to hold a position, you ought to have been in the Senate for 2 terms. That ordinarily would have been taken without any suspicion had the same Senate not said that you have to be a member of the preceding Senate. In other words, even if you had been a member of the Senate for 2 terms before now, so long as you are not a member of this present Senate, you are disqualified. So does that suggest, for instance, that there is something special about this particular Senate that makes them the best to preside?
Let us ask Mr. Anyamkpa.
Oh, well, thank you for having me in your studios, and I tell you sincerely, the program is inside out, and your studio is good inside out.
Yeah,
I compliment that. I think I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Human wants are insatiable. And give a little child a biscuit, and another child comes to collect it. He would do everything possible to ensure that he barricades and gets a boundary around it. Lawmaking is same thing all over the world. And Nigeria has a system where you come up, generate laws, and then it goes for first reading, second reading, third reading, and all that. And then when it comes to house rules, it has been amended over and over again. The process they have agreed upon to come thus far is questionable. You see, even if they had the best of intentions, the body language does not represent what they have in mind. Let me tell you sincerely, I'm saying it inside out. I'm saying it how I feel. It doesn't really matter. If the ombudsman who's supposed to checkmate the executive is compromised, then what do you expect? If I'm sending you on an errand, the person who sent you on an errand is not comfortable with the errandee, then how do you succeed? Everything you say must be wrong. If the Senate, whose job it is to checkmate the executive, the judiciary, and even themselves, are compromised in so many ways, considering what they have done in the past, the antecedents with electoral law and all that, you can be very sure that they have to suspect. Nigerians, including me, will suspect every move you make when it is in bad intention. Ranking, yes, I was a legislator. We have rankings. The rankings limits you not to the chairman. We can limit you to principal officers, the president of the Nigerian Senate, the deputy president, and then other ranks. But if you have been a senator before, and one tenure you didn't come, and you come back again, you're a ranking officer. So you cannot say because this particular Senate, who has compromised with the executive, they are blocking everybody, chaining everybody to one corner, so that if you come in, you won't be able to have a position to say what you want to have in mind, because they know. My dear brother, I feel so sad, but I have to say it the way it is.
Yeah.
This president of the Nigerian Senate, due respect to him, is a lawyer. He knows where the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted in the law books. He was a governor for 8 years, senator for 4 years, before he came back and went to the sanctuary of can I say, let's just make sure that your sins are forgiven. And when his sins were forgiven, he became the Lord and Master. And now he wants to shut the door. How would a Senate, a legislator, whether the House of Reps or the Senate, will sing the praises of the executive and say, your mandate will stand? And when you show that, so how will you come back again to say, your mandate will not stand anymore? By giving us some loopholes. We don't have that trust. It doesn't really matter. I'm sorry, I'm saying it the way I feel. You might be trying to paint words. No, inside out, I'll say it. Now, it means they have targeted, they've plotted the graph and know where the pendulum is swinging to. And if this happens, and this, permutations, and this thing happens, and this thing happens, and this person can't stay, and this, if that is the case, nothing will happen. So the best bet is to bring a law that will cage him, or cage them. A former governor for 8 years is a potential senator, because that's the trend in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then from a particular region is also a threat to Nigeria. And also, the former president of the Nigerian Senate will sit back with due respect to David Mark. When he couldn't win, he stayed back until he was voted out. Did that make him less a senator? No. Does it make that he didn't have anything to offer? Who says that the man who is the current senator is the best of the senators that are coming in? Who says, me, with the years of experience, I have worked in the National Assembly for 14 years as a legislative aide, after serving as a legislator in Lagos State. Legislative aide even to the immediate past deputy speaker. I was there. He never gave us all this room not to produce. And somebody's asking me, what if I win my ticket tomorrow and come in and you say I am not one because I came from State House? It's because you want to cage me. You don't want my views to be heard. You don't want me to contribute my own quota, whatever it is, to the development of Nigeria.
Don't want you to upset the couple.
All the same, because it's a cabal. I don't want to use the word cabal, but you're forcing me to say that.
Yeah, okay. That's why I want to bring the question to Mr. Emagu. Sir, do you think this particular amendment, this particular amendation of that Senate rule is not just the handiwork of one particular man, but of a group, or if I borrow the word of Mr. Of a cabal?
The point is whether it is one man or whether it is a group. Whomsoever it is that has initiated, orchestrated this manipulation and this absurdity. What is important is to look at the consequence, the ramifications, the implications.
Because Adams Oshomole, who's supposed to be an insider man, seems to be outside.
Well, again, it's instructive that you have raised the intervention of Senator Adams Oshomole, which was quite spot on. Yeah. As Honorable Anyamkpa mentioned, there is apparently an intention to preserve the status quo. There is an intention to employ the instrument of legality to exclude people who are qualified and who intend to run for those positions. Whether it is being orchestrated by one person or by a group, what is important is that what they're trying to do is a disservice to the Nigerian people and to the Nigerian state. Now, it leads to the question, has this Senate been spectacular in its performance? has this Senate addressed fundamentally or decisively the fundamental issues that affect the Nigerian public and the Nigerian state? Has this Senate, by its actions, by the laws it has made, by its oversight activities, paved the way for the enjoyment of the rational life plans of Nigerians? Has this Senate conducted its activities in a manner that promotes peace, that guarantees security, that activates the economic environment that will make Nigerians to exit from poverty? Has this Senate, by its actions, by its laws, helped the president to actualize the renewal of hope? If this Senate has been able to achieve this, one would probably say that, okay, he's scared that those coming in will not live up to expectations. But even at that, does it have the right to do so? Who has appointed it a judge? And let me come back to that. I need to address that probably a lot more exhaustively. When I hear that the Senate is making rules for self-preservation of certain individuals and certain interests, it rankles one, because as we speak, Nigeria is like a killing field. When you sit back and hear that generals are being killed in the battlefield, you hear of equipment failure, you see communities not just living in fear, not just being ravaged, but people being slaughtered, prompting the governor of a state to rush to a scene in armored personal carrier, and the president dashing to the place in his aircraft. And even as we speak, the slaughter has not stopped. Today, the media is replete with stories of the invasion of the scene of a mass burial by gun-toting people to slaughter more persons. And the Senate is busy, It's like Nero feeling,
What the Senate is saying, all these things, all this indictment are the handiwork of our opposition.
No, is the Senate saying that the slaughter in Plateau is the handiwork of opposition? Or is the Senate suggesting, for instance, by the way, when the Senate says opposition, our Senate is not made up of just one party. Yeah. The Senate represents Nigeria, doesn't represent a party, which again is another absurdity. To suggest, for instance, that the Senate is partisan. The Senate is not supposed to be partisan. How can the Senate be partisan when it comes to the killing of Nigerians? I don't think that's what the Senate said. Maybe you are misquoting.
But the Senate too are members of a political party, and this political party thinks they are being attacked.
And by the way,
that they are taught there's a plot against them to push them out of power.
The state where the slaughter appears to be going on a daily basis is the state of the chairman of the ruling party.
Yes.
Plateau State is the state of the chairman
of the ruling party.
APC. So that even imposes a stricter responsibility and calls for greater sensibility to what is happening. And I think that given that the APC is the ruling party and has the majority of senators, I think that the leadership of the party ought to call the president of the Senate and his senators to order. That what they are doing is a disservice to the party itself. Because at the end of the day, the electorate is going to judge the party by the performance of some of these principal officers.
Sorry, Sago. I don't want to quote the Bible, but it's the basis of my faith.
Yeah.
They have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Some people who are very sarcastic say, is it a kindergarten Senate? where they're spoon-fed, where they collect several trillions of dollars on loan, and the payment plan is not made known, and the children yet unborn will inherit the debt, and yet the killings and insecurity subsides and goes on every day. I think sincerely, if you are amending the constitution to favor those who are there, what of those who are coming from outside? The minority leader, deputy minority leader, what if he comes? Now, 36 states, about 32 are APC. The Senate, majority APC. Now, the judiciary, you have them at the back of your pocket. All ramifications, the police is there, the military is there for you, and yet you are not happy. You're making obnoxious laws.
I think they want to temper out the pace of political dynamism in our country. Because if someone is coming from outside, you're a first-time senator, and you are intellectually vibrant, that means you are strong. You cannot seek this office anymore.
In your opening remarks, you made mention of experience.
Yeah.
A governor who has been there for 8 years cannot be less experienced because he has state houses of assembly under him and he knows the process by which laws are made. So he's experienced.
And by the way, if you permit me to interject at this point, some of the people who are likely to come to the new Senate and whom we understand have collected funds have been senators in the past, and they did well when they were senators. Now, it is not. It is not the prerogative of the incumbent senators to now try to exclude those people, because some of them are also experienced in their own rights. Besides, for the sake of the argument, let us say that they have not been senators in the past. One suggests that someone who is coming in as a first-time senator may not have better grounding in terms of what our people really expect at this point, does not have the intellectual background, does not have the sense of direction, does not have the patriotism, and what even say people even have precedence in other areas. When T.O. Elias was appointed the Chief Justice of the Federation, I'm not aware that he was made Chief Justice from the bench. He was Attorney General of the Federation. And he acquitted himself creditably as the Chief Justice of the Federation. Taslim Olawole Elias. It was based on his antecedents as a foremost academic at the University of Lagos, where he was the Dean of the Faculty of Law, and the other responsibilities he held. And he did very well. Soludo Sisi, the present governor of Anambra State, I am not aware that he had been a banker or worked in the banking sector. He probably did before he became the governor of Central Bank. Perhaps preparatory to that position, Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, a man, of course, that I credit with extraordinary, sensibilities, acumen, administrative savvy, and political sagacity. He tapped that guy, the young man, and made him chief economic advisor, probably as a grooming ground. After about 2 years, he made him governor of the Central Bank. And Soludo, by any standard, I'm not talking about his role as governor because I don't have the parameters to assess him. He did exactly very well as Central Bank governor. The bankers were essential. By the way, he handled the bank consolidation that strengthened the banking system in the country. What point am I trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is that it does not, as they say that the age of Methuselah, there's a way had nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. That to the extent that we have had cases in the past where people were brought in, the important thing is that the only exclusion is whether the person is a criminal. And not just a criminal, has the person been found guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction? 2, does the person have the mental capacity to comprehend things?
It's even an indictment to them because the internal mechanism of the party would have noticed all these things.
Precisely, and with the people are. And with the people
You
are.
can allow them to come to the Senate, and now you start excluding them. Let me tell you, my brother, Senate is just about administration. Every senator is entitled to 5 legislative aides. The people who prepare your bills and motions, and possibly rehearse it. And you have also have consultants, especially the new intakes. They have consultants who will teach them what to do. And National Institute of Legislative Studies will also organize a seminar, 1 week seminar to prepare them on the tax ahead. So you can't tell me that somebody who has won his seat at the Senate is not competent enough to handle. Remember, Senate President is first among others.
That's true.
Among equals, rather. Yeah. So you cannot say he knows it all. Nobody is born in this country as the president of Senate or deputy president and all that. I think it is a ploy to give more disservices to Nigerian Senate.
Well, how do you see the body language of the party, the APC as a party? What are they saying concerning this particular issue? And what about the presidency? What do they feel about it? Because you as Senate president cannot make a move like that, especially with a president that is seeking re-election, wants to be there also for the next 4 years. So what do you think about it?
I don't work with the presidency. It's only when the issue statements we know how they feel.
But so far they have not issued any statement.
I'm telling you.
To be mute on
yes,
it.
because it favors them to an extent. They don't want to bring anybody who will attack them. Remember what happened? At some point in this country, the Southeast had 5 Senate presidents because of one purpose the government then wanted to achieve. If you don't want to be with me, I remove you, I impeach you, and all that. That's exactly what I'm envisaging. But when they know that they're comfortable with the decision taken thus far by the current president and of the Senate and the senators, what else will they expect them to say? And what else will the party say? APC will say, go on boy, like the cameraman will say, go on song. So it's unfortunate, absolutely unfortunate, absolutely unfortunate. You see, mediocrity has crept into our polity. Who knows somebody? I am not aware in any part of this constitution where we have the office of the first son of the country. Neither do I have.
I'm not aware that we have such.
Yeah, we may not have it.
No, because
we use the word body language.
No, people may just be ascribing that. But I would like to say that even in this administration, there is no official position of the first son of the country.
Not in theory, but what about in practice?
You say about body language.
Why do we bother about how people are moving their bodies?
Because they're scratching me.
Well, whichever it is, whatever makes people happy, so long as it does not infringe on the rights of others. That is what is important. Yeah, I mean, for instance, if somebody decides to, paint his head red or yellow or green, why bother with that?
I'm bothered because it's distracting me.
Don't look at the person.
This democracy.
Yeah.
Don't look at this. But on the more serious note, talking about the rules amended, rule amendment by the Senate. I think that this Senate should get a lot more serious with this bill. This, mind you, there are sparkling individual senators. There are senators who are out for the public good, who are sensitive to the sensibilities of the members of the public, who appreciate and understand the present conundrum into which Nigeria has been thrown, and who are determined to the best of their abilities, sadly circumscribed by the shenanigans that we are talking about, to try to create a new dynamic that resonates well with the public and that is capable of bringing about positive change. They are there in the Senate. Some of them occasionally are not allowed to speak.
There are few. That's right.
Well, so those, but this Senate as a team, as a group, as a body needs to recalibrate, it needs to reset going forward. So far, we have the problem of insecurity almost writ large. As we talk, Kwara has become something else. When you see traditional rulers, running away from their palaces, when you see communities abandoning their homes, when you see soldiers left desolate, when you see senior officers being slaughtered, when you see people who signed that they could sacrifice their lives and themselves so that all of us, including the senators, would be able to sleep with two eyes closed without being decimated. When you see wives of such people being turned into widows at times before the age of 30, when you see the children, some of them 2 months old, they will never know their fathers. When you see a future that is so mortgaged and so unsure, and members of our legislature are preoccupied with personal survival, self-aggrandizement, exclusion of good hands. There are governors serving today nationwide who have done well. Some of them have been in the Senate before, who may find their way back into the Senate. But what our Senate is doing is trying to exclude them. I think that is not just a travesty. That is criminal.
Does it indicate the failure of leadership? It's just like you're saying, I've lost legitimacy within my own house, and I still want to perpetuate myself in power. So I need to create an arrangement that secures my future. I think that's what Akpabio is trying to do.
Akpabio is an individual.
Yeah.
There's much he can do by lobbying, which is okay. And then if you lobby somebody with a whole huge sum of money, which you're borrowing from somewhere else, a few individuals are getting it, well, you persuade them to your line of thought. Coming from Lagos, it will take you about 14 hours by road to come from Lagos to Abuja. Ordinarily 1 hour by air. And going to Abuja by air, it's about 150, 160, 170 from Lagos and all that. So if you go by road, 70,000 naira, it will take that much. And nobody's interested. It's not just the bandits and the kidnappers on the road. You have the potholes, big potholes. Now the rainy season is creeping in. And you make it, and nobody's interested in things like that. They're all interested in securing their seat and making themselves Lord and Master. Well, goodness and mercy will follow them. The only way to follow them is that when they create their own market, quite away from the common market, they have their own petrol station away from other people's petrol station. They buy their own fuel free of charge or less amount of money that ordinary citizens are buying. Fine, you can be sure that it's good for me to join the party or join whatever interest they have. I mean, we go to the same market. They can now say, this blue shirt is cheaper because you are inside out. No. What these guys are doing, they are not being fair to Nigerians. They're not being fair. And grab it, snatch it, run with it. And that's exactly what is going on. Whether they like it or not doesn't matter. After being sworn in, the first thing is to remove subsidy, and yet it is not removed. And Nigerians are suffering. Only few people are benefiting from it, and yet it doesn't bother you. Your interest is to perpetuate yourself in power and making sure that people suffer the more. And you want us to applaud? No. What they're saying is like my brother, my colleague, my elder brother said, is criminal. They know what they're doing. And people are keeping quiet. I've never seen it since the history of Nigeria that Nigerians are not happy and they're keeping quiet.
I think the frustration too is across board. But if we look at it going forward, what should be the way out? Because we know since 1999, the Nigerian National Assembly has not had free leadership election. During Obasanjo time, the executive used to have a hand in the election of these principal officers. We can see that under Tinubu was picking his people. We see that currently, even in the election of Godswill and
Not
Akpabio.
only in Nigeria, all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world, positions of leadership is not gotten on the platter of gold. People have interests. If I want you to be chief press secretary of this federation, I have to make an impact so that my voice will be heard.
Yeah.
And as I give you a position, I say, okay, Gabriel, go and do that. Because I have paid my dues, I have paved my way, and then I have been heard. So lobbying and making sure that things are done in people's way. Even some people outside this country can have an interest on a particular candidate and spend their time and money on him and making sure that he wins so that they'll be able to get what they want. So that is not even a problem anywhere.
But it affects the independence of that.
You see, independence is exactly what they talk. People have their say. I don't know how they in their way. We're complaining. You and I are complaining. Do they bother? They'll look at you, darling, see, come and see what these guys are saying here. Oh my God. I think you are doing well. Because if you're not doing well, people will not talk about you. That's exactly what they will tell you. Over a cup of tea. They will laugh at you. My dear brother, whether they like it or not, Nigeria will go on. One time, president of this country said, and I quote, "May God rest his soul, Buhari. It is only this country will call our own. And we have to do everything possible to salvage it. And nobody else will do that except Nigerians." I rest my case.
That means we have to keep speaking up, because if we don't speak up, I think the powers that be will always have their way, always overlook us. Thank you so much for being on today's program of Inside Out. Mr. Imago, it's a pleasure to have you, and Mr. Anyamkpa, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, viewers, thank you for being on today's program of Inside Out with us. We hope to see you next time on True Vision Online Television. Like and share. I am Gabriel Atume.